welcome to the class. Today our discussion is on water, chapter 3. It's a new chapter. We have already completed discussion on chapter 1 and chapter 2. Today there is a revision test. So after completion of the class, you sit with your copy or paper and then you give the test. The question paper is attached. You check. If you have not checked yet, download, sit, and time must be maintained. You must maintain the time to solve the entire question paper. Next day I will be discussing the answer of the question. So today we will be starting a new chapter, that is water. Now whenever we talk about water, we should write the formula, that is H2O. Now in the syllabus, if you have already downloaded the syllabus, you have seen in water the topic that we are going to cover, the topic which I mentioned in the syllabus. First of all, water is a universal solvent. Second, I guess you have solubility, effect of temperature on solubility. Then we have water of crystallization and hydrous substances, then efflorescence, deliquescence, drying, dehydrating agent, and finally we have hard water, soft water differences and how hardness of water can be removed, temporary and permanent hardness. These all are the topic on which we are going to discuss. Interestingly, all these topics were there in class 8. So this time class 9 chemistry is a bit easy for you all because all these ideas already you had in class 8. We are just recapitulating the things with a little bit of new add-ons. So before starting with all this syllabus based discussion, let us talk about water first. Let us know water a little bit more. Water is very simple. We all know it is very needed for our drinking purpose as well. But what is the structure of water? Now, class 8, you had in class 8, you had a discussion on chemical bond. You have seen ionic bond, formation of ionic bond. So you all know that when there is a force that exists between atoms or ions, we call it a chemical bond is formed. Now, when there is transfer of electron from metal to non-metal, ionic bonds are formed. So bonds basically ionic, covalent and coordinate. There are other bonds as well. Do not think that only 3 types of bonds are there. There are metallic bonds, hydrogen bonds, many different kinds of bonds are present. But at present, we will be discussing about 2. One we have done in class 8, that is ionic bond. Covalent bond we should know before we start the water molecules. So in this case, hydrogen and oxygen, both of them are showing non-metallic character. None of them is a strong metal. When there is existence of metal and non-metals, when there is a presence of metal and non-metal, then ionic bond takes place. But if there are non-metals, then there is a covalent bond. The term covalent, the word co means sharing. So when there is a sharing of electron, we get covalent bonds. So before giving example of water, I just want to show you like hydrogen molecule H2. We know hydrogen atom has 1 electron at its outermost shell, and every atom has a tendency to gain the nearest noble gas structure. To gain the nearest noble gas structure, they may accept electron, they may donate electron, or they may share electron. So whenever we see electronic configuration of any element, we just need to check how many electrons it needs to complete its duplet or octet. If you can remember, duplet is the 2 electron at its valence shell, that is the electronic configuration of helium, and octet is 8 electron at its valence shell. Other than helium, all of the noble gases. They are all stable, they are generally unreactive at room temperature, at normal conditions. So every element has a tendency to achieve the noble gas configuration. Hydrogen has only 1 electron at its outermost shell. So it can do 2 things. Either it can gain 1 electron or it can share 1 electron. It cannot donate an electron. Why? Because if it donates, it becomes 0. And 0 electron means no existence. So, and there is no noble gas with having 0 electrons. That is why 2 things it can do. Now when there are 2 hydrogen atoms, there is no one to give. Somebody can take the electron when there is someone to give. If both of are at the same boat, how someone will give the electron? So in that case, they will share. Like in your tiffin class, not tiffin class, when in your tiffin period in your school, generally you all also share tiffin with your friends. So when both of you are having small amount, both of you share and enjoy your tiffin. But when a friend is not having any tiffin, another is having a lot many amount of tiffin, you generally donate the case. So the letter of that donation case, that is ionic, but when you are sharing, that is covalent. So how we draw this one, how we write this one, hydrogen, we write a dot outside, and then another hydrogen we can write a dot outside. You can write a cross also instead of dot, like this small cross also you can write, and then we show the sharing of electrons. Now this is called dot cross diagram, and that is called a covalent bond. Now in case of water, what happens? Water contains two atoms, oxygen and hydrogen. None of them can give or take, so both of them will share. H2O, hydrogen's valency 1 but atomicity is 2. That means in one molecule of water there are two hydrogen atoms. So how there will be the formation? So if I can write the electrons, you know oxygen has total of 8 electrons, 2 electrons at the K shell and 6 at the L shell. So these are the electrons, 6 electrons. Hydrogen has 1 electron at its outermost shell, so they will share the electrons. Now you count the electrons for them. Hydrogen, now after sharing 1 2 electron, 1 2 electron, so these 2 electrons are shared by both of them. So now how many electrons oxygen has? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. So now oxygen also has 8 electrons, that is octet configuration. Hydrogen also has 2 electrons, that is duplet configuration. So both of them now have gained this octet and duplet structures. So now they are stable, they have formed water molecule. Now why I have written the water little bit bent? Why I have drawn the water bent? Because the structure of water is in this form. There is an angle, water is V-shaped, it is not linear. Because of its V-shaped, it has multiple properties. When we will go to higher classes, we will understand that what is the advantage of water of having this V shape. So water is reverse V shaped like. So in water sample of water like this, many water molecules are joined with each other with a very weak bond. That bond is called hydrogen bond. We will read about hydrogen bond, not now, in the later on, maybe in class 10 we will read about this a little bit. So for now, I hope you have understood it's the covalent bond. Now after formation of covalent bond, we need to see that what kinds of atoms are present in water. Oxygen and hydrogen, two different kinds of atom, and here in case of hydrogen molecule, two similar atoms are present. So when there is two similar atoms, both of them has a same tendency to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself in a same manner. This is called shared pair of electrons. So hydrogen, both are hydrogen, so their attraction will be same. So this shared pair of electron will be distributed equally among the atoms. Now we cannot see actually in the real case 1 and 2, we cannot count in this way. Electron remains inside in form of cloud. So there will be formation of a cloud, electron cloud here. You cannot see where the electrons are after formation. Similarly, here also there will be formation of cloud, but the density of cloud will be little bit thicker in towards the oxygen, and here it will be little bit thinner towards the hydrogen. Why towards the oxygen it is thicker? Because oxygen has more tendency to attract the shared pair electron towards itself, and here we will use the term electronegativity. What is electronegativity? Electronegativity is a tendency of an atom to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself. So whenever any atom is there inside a molecule, every atom has a tendency to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself. Some has more, some has less. So in case of hydrogen and oxygen, oxygen has more tendency to attract the shared pair of electrons than that of hydrogen. That means oxygen is more electronegative than hydrogen. So in this case, the cloud will be there will be a bit of shifting of the clouds for oxygen. We will give the term here polar molecule. Why polar? Because the cloud, as it is shifted here, so hydrogen will acquire a bit of positive charge. This is not the real charge, this is a very small amount. Now this is delta. You all know the sign of delta because you all have these alpha, beta, gamma, delta sections. So this is Greek alphabet. Delta used to show the small amount, used to represent small amount. So delta positive here and for those two hydrogen, and there will be two delta negative. So there is no real generation of charge. Again I am repeating, there is no real generation of charge. That is a partial small amount of charge that are generating over it, making the molecule polar. But if there is no such cases, when their two atoms are same, then there is no charge generation. It's like a tug of war, because we have seen in tug of war competitions, one is pulling this side, another is pulling that side. The one who is more powerful, that rope that goes towards them, that means there is a shift. But if you do the tug of war with yourself, the two of you do, then no one will lose, no one will win, because both of you will be having the same force of attraction. If it is possible to create a clone and we can have a tug of war, there will be no result for that competition. That's same for hydrogen. Now why I am telling all these things? Because we want to say that water is a universal solvent. To say this, so many things, so many introductions. Universal solvent, why we call? Because so many solvents are available in nature. Not only water, there are multiple solvents like benzene, ethanol, many solvents are there. Acetone, we have dichloromethyl, many solvents are there. But out of that, water is so popular. Why? Because water has dissolve properties. First of all, water is polar. In chemistry, we have a very popular sentence, like dissolves like. So water being polar, it dissolves almost all polar compounds, and sometimes non-polar compounds as well through some force. That is a bit detailed, will not come to that. Water can dissolve maximum polar compounds, some non-polar compounds due to certain specific force, and also water dissolves maximum ionic molecules in them, because ionic compounds means they are also having those opposite charges in them. So maximum ionic compounds can dissolve in that. Also water has high dielectric constant value. High dielectric constant value means among all the solvent, water has the maximum capability to weaken the force of attraction of the solute that we are adding to water. So these two property of water, making water so versatile, can dissolve so many substances in water. So it is called universal solvent. And now you know the importance of water is in our health, in our body, how much water we need. We cannot survive without water. So all these properties are actually making water so important. So today we are doing this discussion. I don't know it is there in the book or not. I think this much it is not there in the book, because literally it is not in your syllabus. This polar, non-metal, polar, non-polar you have in class 10, you are in 9. But it is needed. Sometimes something which is not there in the syllabus, but it is needed to know which is there in the syllabus. Do not take much stress, because you will not be having questions on what is a polar molecule, what is a non-polar molecule. This could be, as it is not there in the syllabus. But I have said all these things to you just to tell you that why water is an universal solvent. For that I have done this all introduction. I hope you all have noted down these all points, because these will be needed for understanding. If you have not understood polar, non-polar metal, there is a comment section as well. You can write there. So today you have revision test also. I am stopping my discussion here. 5 minutes take gap, and then you start taking the revision test seriously, self-assessment time. So see you in the next class. Don't forget to wash your hand with water along with soap frequently. Take care and bye.